What's up, YouTube? My name is Bedivere, and welcome to episode 1 of my Zero to Hero playthrough of Factorio. This is going to be a tutorial series for new players, as well as a place for advanced players to come in and get some inspiration with tips and tricks or different builds. And hopefully you guys like the way I play, and we can take this playthrough to a massive mega base to the size of y'all's choosing. I do want to take this time to say thank you to 3 specific content creators that inspired me to make this playthrough. Catherine of Sky, Nilaus, and Exterminator, all 3 of which have been making Factorio content for years. When I saw their playthroughs, I thought to myself, maybe I would do something different, or I would have done something this way. And that's the great thing about Factorio, is that there's no one way to play. So hopefully y'all like the way that I play, and we can make the best mega base that we possibly can together. So let me know in the comments throughout the video if you would do something differently, or if you have any suggestions on the direction that you'd like to see the playthrough go. And let's get started. So we're in the main menu right now. I am running a couple mods, but none of them are gameplay mods. They're all kind of quality of life mods. The first one is To-Do List, just to kind of keep track of tasks once the tasks kind of build up, and just to keep track of what we're doing. Auto Deconstruct is going to be a big one for our outpost, hopefully to automate deconstruction and the recycling of resources. Automatic Terrain Painter is a mod that I like. It's just aesthetic. Just lets you know from a glance kind of what material the train is hauling. Clock, just to know what kind of time it is in game time. Factorio Library is just what all the mods use to communicate with the base game. And then Squeak Through is the last one that we're going to be using. This is especially useful in kind of mining fields when you got a bunch of objects kind of crammed together. Just allows you to walk through them and not have to go all the way around. So let's go to the map that we have set up for this playthrough. I will be playing on a modified rail world map. There's different kind of, for new players, there's different kinds of presets. You can kind of, all these presets kind of modify all these 3 sliders. You can have the size of the patches be small or large. The richness is just the density of the materials inside the ore. And now the frequency here is basically how spaced out they are. There is one thing to note, that as you expand outwards of the map, the ore patches do get larger. They do get more dense, hence more resources. So if we're going to be creating this massive mega base, it makes sense to have the resource patches a little bit further apart. And that way you have to really work to clear out the biter bases or the enemy bases. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to do here. I did turn off cliffs, because cliffs are the spawn of Satan and I hate them. Trees, some people like playing with trees, some people don't. I kind of like trees. They help absorb pollution, which is great in the early game. And then water. I love having big bodies of water, especially for nuclear power. For the enemy bases, I made our starting size have a lot bigger, gives us a little bit more breathing room. But one thing I did do is increase the frequency and the size of the bases. So while the beginning of the game is going to be a lot easier with the bigger starting size, when we want to expand, we're really going to have to push through and kind of earn those new resource patches, which will make it a little bit more exciting with the difficulty being a little bit higher. If we go to advanced, I do want to add the research queue. By default, you get a queue after the game is finished or after you launch a rocket. So you're only able to research one thing at a time. So if you put always, you're able to queue up, I think it's 6 or 7 items, just so you can kind of let it run its course. Let's preview this map here that I've chosen for us. It's a nice little map. So if you kind of scroll out to the perimeter, you kind of see those big biter bases that we will have to charge our way through, which is fun. But one thing I do like is there is kind of some choke points. So right here, maybe right here, if we have a wall kind of going this way in between the water, we kind of lock up these resources in this oil patch. And then we do have a kind of long channel of water for nuclear power, and we'll get into that nuclear build a little bit further along the line. And I also like that it's kind of waterlocked this way, so you don't have to deal with the threats along this coast. And there's some water here. We'll explore and see how far this kind of body of water goes. But yeah, this looks like a decent little start. So let's get started. And I love this little cutscene that I think the devs put in 1.0. That's great. This is Factorio Free Play. Your task is to launch a rocket into space. You will need to research advanced technologies in order to unlock the rocket silo. Start small, work your way up with automation, and don't forget to protect yourself from the natives. All right, so let's zoom out. One thing to start off for new players, all these kind of parts are going to be containers. If you click in, this is what our character has in our inventory. Like I said, starting from 0, there's not much. You can click and drag from any container into your inventory. You can also do the other way around from your inventory into another container. If you want to take everything from the container, you press Control left click, it'll take everything in. Or in this case, Control left click brings it down to our ammo box automatically here. And it's the same way putting something into the container. You press on an empty box, Control click, it'll bring everything in there. All right, so let's bring everything back. And then you also don't have to open the container like so to take everything out of it. You can Control click and automatically, if you see this little pop up here, goes into your inventory. So let's just go around, see what we can salvage up. All right, looks like that's everything. And some people like to delete this this spaceship, but the thing with that is, after it's deleted, you can never reconstruct it. So I kind of like leaving it there as just a memento. All right, so let's get started. The first thing that we will need is iron and lots of it. So let's set up this miner. So in order to place a miner, like I said here, you go into your inventory, click on it, and drag out. To rotate it, you press R. And you rotate it clockwise. To rotate counterclockwise, you press Shift and go that way. Shift is also, you place a ghost. We'll go over that later on. All right, so let's put this here and place a smelting there. Now, these things consume fuel. So fuel, let's hover over this. There's 5 types of fuel: wood, coal, solid fuel, rocket fuel, and nuclear fuel. They all have their different efficiencies, and so, for example, wood is the least efficient. It'll burn the quickest, therefore you need a lot of it. Wood is okay to start off this game with, so let's just go here, and if you press right mouse button, you deconstruct all this stuff, and you can just kind of hold it down, and then as you hover over the tree, it'll automatically deconstruct it. Okay. And to bring up this kind of crafting window is E on your keyboard, and then you just kind of filter through and see what kind of things we can craft. So let's take out our wood, and in order to put a half stack into an object, you can either go into the object and drag it in there, or if you want a half stack, you can Control right click. But there's kind of an easier way to do so. You can just take the material out here, Control right click, put half, and then Control click puts the whole stack in there. Okay, so now this is consuming this fuel at a quick rate, and then every time the bar goes out to 100%, it produces an iron ore. And then what we're doing here is a thing called direct insertion. if you see here, there's a little arrow which shows where the output of the miner is going to be. And this is going directly into this smelter. Therefore, so you don't need kind of an intermediary step. And yeah, so the iron goes in, gets smelted into iron plates, and now we will use that to smelt more. So one thing that I love about Factorio is that there's almost everything is needed to create something else, right? So in this case, in order to create one burner miner, we need 3 iron plates. We have 15, so we're perfectly fine. On top of that, it needs 3 iron gear wheels. So if we go to the intermediary products, 1 iron gear wheel takes 2 iron plates. So we need 3 of them. So in total, we need 6 iron plates. And then we do need 1 stone furnace. So in order to make a stone furnace, we can hover over that recipe, and it takes 5 stone. So you can kind of see how automating all of this is going to be a lot more efficient than kind of hand picking everything. So let's take that, go over to our stone patch over here, and real quick mine out 5 stone. I'm just right clicking, holding it down. All right, now we got enough to make a burner miner. But before we do anything, we do need some more fuel. So let's go back here, chop some trees down. All right. Okay. Now what we want to do is make an iron chest, and the first thing that we're going to lay down is a burner miner up here in this stone patch, so that we don't have to manually mine for stone when we want to make a furnace. So we're using that same method over here of direct insertion. It works into a smelter, but also into a chest. So if we add some fuel, let's just add half of it for now. Once this bar fills up, it'll add it into here. And now is probably a good time to show you the Alt key. So if you press Alt, it shows you arrows as well as what is in each either container, whether it be a smelter or a box. So if we zoom out, now that we have Alt on, we know the product being produced in this smelter, which is going to be iron plates. It's just a useful little UI design that helps a lot. Okay, so now we got some more iron plate. Let's see if we got more stone. Let's wait for 10. Yep, okay. So now let's make 1 burner miner and another stone furnace. And we are going to use wood again for probably the last time. 6 and 6. All right, let's see. Got 36 iron plate. Yeah, we should have more than enough for another burner miner. Let's make 2. So now we're going to do a little trick that I like to do when mining for coal, which is going to be our fuel. We're done with wood. Okay, here's going to be a good spot. Let's craft those. And you can see everything that's being crafted down here. Okay, so now we got 2. We're going to rotate this around and have the coal miners feed into each other. So the output of this miner is going to be put into this miner, which will be its fuel to keep it running. And then the output of this one's going to be put into this miner. So they're going to be feeding into each other, accumulating coal. And that's what we're going to use to fuel the rest of our factory for now. All right, so let's get this started with 1. So now you see that it's producing 1 coal before it runs out. So now it's filled this one, and now this one has fed into this one, and they'll just kind of accumulate. You see we got 2, so let's kind of take those out. Why not? And we'll fuel these 2 while we're at it. Okay, let's see if we can make any more. Let's wait for 20. Oh, and this one's out of fuel as well. Okay. While we're at it, let's take the 14 coal, put it in here. All right. So now we got 20. Let's make 2 burner miners and 2 stone furnaces. How much fuel does this have? Not much. Here, we're going to do this instead. We're going to add or expand to this fuel kind of train that we have. Okay, this is going to be pointing up, pointing to the left, and we're going to rotate this so that the output arrow goes into here. So now it's going into a 4 miner circle. Now we can add more, and that just doubled our coal production. All right. Now let's refill these miners, pick up the iron plate. Now let's go, oh, we can make 2 more burner miners. Let's see how many furnaces we can make right now. Okay, we can make 2. All right. Holding off on copper just a little while longer. Oh, and what you saw me do there, so let me actually delete these really quick. So if you have an item on the ground, you can press Q as it works like a pipette tool in a lot of those graphic design applications where you click on it, hover it, you see what's selected, press Q, and it kind of copies it, and you're free to place a copy of that. We can do the same thing here with the furnace. So just press Q and then place it wherever you want to go. All right, looks like we're out of coal again. So let's go up. And a lot of this early game is a lot of repetition, just kind of building up your stockpile. And you can see we're already getting a decent amount of stuff. Okay. Let's go back up. How much fuel does this have? 9, okay. This will work out for a little bit longer. What do we have? 23. Let's wait for 2 more so we can get 5. Let's make 4 of those. All right, then we got last one. Okay, so let's make 2 more miners. Actually, 2 more. Let's make all 5. Why not? That way we really ramp up our coal production. Awesome. Okay, so now's going to be the time. This is going to run for a little bit. Let's make another furnace and start up our copper line right here. Okay, let's pick up some more iron. Okay, so now we're in a decent spot where we can start thinking about power. Or before we talk about power, let's talk about research. Okay, so at the beginning, we mentioned that automation is going to be a huge part in this game. In order to start that, we need assembly machines. So the first priority you should have is to research an assembly machine. And the next one that we will do is going to be optics. I know YouTube can be a little dark or viewing this game, so we'll make some lights, make it brighter for y'all to see. Okay. So in order to create power, we have these things called water boilers. So in order to make one, we need 4 pipes and 1 stone furnace. We know that 1 stone furnace requires 5 stone. In order to make 4 pipes, we need 4 iron plates. Okay, so we're gonna need more stone. I'm tempted to add another miner here. Let's pick up coal so we can fuel it real quick. Nice. Let's do this. Or you know what? Let's move everything back a tad. So now we'll have double the amount of stone. Great. Okay. So we can make 3 boilers and then 2 steam engines. Now, we do need an offshore pump. We need a little bit more steel. Or iron plate, I mean. Okay. While that's crafting, let's refill these. Okay. Should be good. Let's see what kind of fuel we got. Okay, so we're running a little bit low. Should be good. Okay, so the thing with a boiler, as you hover over here, it consumes water. It also consumes burnable fuel. In this case, it's going to be coal. And then after that, it generates steam, which will be used to turn the steam engines, which in turn creates power. We do need some more wood for power poles to carry the electricity to the rest of our factory, and then we can start rolling. Let's chop some trees. Okay, so now we can start. If you press M, it'll take you to the map, and then where you are, you can kind of see everything around you. All right, so since using the power consumes water, there's 2 places or 2 options that we have to produce the power. So we got this body of water as well as this one up here. Now, this might seem the most logical solution. However, in the preview map at the beginning of the game, I forgot to mention that, you know, this area here seems pretty open, and then south of here is open as well, which is a nice place to start a factory. So I kind of want to avoid building here because then we'll take up the space where the factory should be. So what I'm thinking instead is making a a column of steam engines over here. And another good reason why to do this is because there's a bunch of trees here, and as we stated at the beginning of the video, trees help absorb pollution, and pollution is going to be a big factor in avoiding the biters. So if I just clicked on this little icon here that toggles the pollution on and off. Once this kind of red circle goes into those biter bases, it'll trigger them to start attacking us. So we want to keep this as small as possible for as long as possible. For that reason, I think it's going to be best for us to produce power up here. All right. Let's pick up some iron plates, also some copper. What we're going to do, we're going to create some power poles. Now, if you just click on it once, it'll create 1 power pole. If you right click, it'll create 5 at a time. And then if you shift click, it'll create as many as you possibly can. All right, so I think we're fine with just that. Let's make some more of these steam engines. Let's add 4 more to have 6 in total. Now you'll see the thing with this game is it relies heavily on efficiency, or not relies on it, but it rewards efficiency. And you'll see that all those productions rely on ratios. So the ratio of 100% efficiency for boiler to steam engine is 1:2. So 1 boiler produces enough steam for 2 steam engines to run at full efficiency. So what we'll do is lay down this power pump real quick. Well, let's delete this tree just so that we can see. Lay that one here. Use an underground pipe. You know what? No, there's too many trees there. Do that. And the thing with the underground pipes, if you had just the regular pipes, like so, and you didn't have Squeak Through, so right now I have Squeak Through so I can go in between entities, but without Squeak Through, this would block you. So this is where underground pipes come in common. You can travel larger distances and then walk through in between. And as you noticed, this kind of yellow dotted line means that they're connected. And once you go further than I think 9 tiles, then they're not connected anymore. So I like to just have it as the furthest. That way you get a lot more walking room. Let's delete these trees. Now let's insert a boiler. And now 2 steam engines. Now these trees are going to be a pain. I will admit that. Start off with the power poles. Let's just add this real quick. Oh, okay. So this is another thing. So as you see here, these trees right here are blocking the construction of this item. If you press shift toggles the ghost placement. And you kind of see that with the icon by my cursor. If you press shift click, or let's actually delete that. If you see here, if you press shift, it turns green, meaning that you can place a ghost. And what the ghost will do will automatically mark a tree for deconstruction, saying that, hey, the tree is in the way. So I'll go ahead, delete a couple of the trees here just so that we can see what we're building. Let's add some power poles. And we'll add this like so. Okay. So this flashing red light, like we saw before, means that they need to consume coal. So let's just put a full one in each, because why not? What will happen the water will go through, as you see over here. Just wait. See that blue bar? That's just how much water is in it. And then down here it says generate steam. So now it's generating steam. And these engines are able to produce power. Now that we don't really have anything that consumes power, so let's actually build something that consumes power, like research labs. So as they're queuing, actually, this is probably a good time to check on the technology. So this will cost one red science for 10 seconds, 10 times. So 10 red science being consumed in 10 seconds each. All right. So in order to satisfy that, let's go here. Now we can make 7. So let's just make all 7 right now. And instead of hand placing the coal for fuel, what we want to do is belt all the coal in. So we don't have any belts right now, but we can fix that and we don't have enough iron to make it. So what we'll do here is we'll middle mouse click and our hotbar down here and select transport belt. And now this will give us the opportunity to place down a ghost. Ghosts are a fantastic way to help plan your factory without actually placing anything. And now what we'll do the same thing for the burner inserters. Now, the burner inserters in Factorio are nearly useless. And I say nearly because they're good for one simple thing. Burner inserters are the only inserters that don't run off electricity, but run off of fuel, much like the furnaces or the, what are these called again? The boilers. So what we do is we place a burner inserter for each boiler. Now what this will protect from is, say if you run out of power, an electric inserter will stop working as well. But a burner inserter, as long as it has fuel, will always keep working. Therefore, it doesn't rely on power or the shortage thereof. So it acts as a good kind of backup. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mirror this build upwards as well and plan out how much space we need. So let's place this down there, this here. Okay, and now we're going to need to place pipes there. Okay, so why are we doing this? A yellow belt will, actually, before we talk about that, so why are we doing this? A full column of boilers to steam engines is 20 boilers to 40 steam engines. That's how much one pump can supply. And it's also how much one yellow belt of coal can supply. So if we go to, actually, no, we can't really see that. If we click, or if we hover over the yellow belt, you can see in the right by the mini map, the belt speed says 15 items per second. The next level of belt is going to be 30 items per second. So if one water pump and one full yellow belt of coal can supply 20 boilers and 40 steam engines, then if we double the yellow belt and add a second water pump, we can double that to another 40 and another 40 steam engines and another 20 boilers on the other side. So this secondary mirrored side is just planning for the future. This does not belong there. That belongs there. Okay. So what we can do is if you want to copy something, it's the same as if you were to copy anything else on a computer. You press Control-C, and then you drag out what you want to copy. In this case, we want 2 boilers. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So now let's Control-Shift. So now we have 4 boilers and 8 steam engines. So what we want to do here is copy all of these, and we want 20 in total. So now it's 4, 8, 12, 16. Oh, and now it's getting a little bit harder to see. And 20. Okay. So now we'll do the same thing with the belt. Carry this all the way. Drag. Whoops. Ooh, that's an awful sound. Sorry. Let's drag that out here. And now rotate and bring this down. That way we know where our coal is going to be coming from. We're going to try to get coal routed through here and then up here. So what I'm going to do off camera is delete all these trees so it clears up a little bit of building space. So I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, so we're back. I did clear some trees. Now we see kind of the landscape that we're working with. Yeah, okay, so now our next goal is going to need, oh, actually, before we bring coal up there, let's set our power poles. Oh, and one thing that I'm doing right here is with power poles specifically, if you click on a ghost and then hold down the left mouse button and then move your mouse, the next ghost it sees, it will automatically place a pole, which is a great quality of life feature that helps so much. So not only does that help with ghosts, but it does the same thing if you extend down, it'll automatically place them at maximum length apart. So let's make a few more. Delete this. And drag down our power poles, because this is what's going to be powering our little mini factory before we make more, and also our miners. Okay, So now we're in some trouble here. Pick up more here and pick up some coal and repower our miners. So now we got a little bit of coal, or a little bit of iron plate and a little bit of copper plate. Let's finish out our last 3 signs. And now what we need is a place for the science to be researched. We're going to do that right here. Do need a few inserters. So let's make 20 of those. While they're crafting, we'll get our assemblers. So now let's split off another thing here in order to make belts, in order to make green circuits. Let's pick up some more coal. Can never have too much coal. Or, yeah, you can, near the end of the game. But for now, we need a lot of coal. Perfect, a lot of stone as well. Let's start making some furnaces. Okay. This is where we're going to make some more red signs and then green signs up here. Okay, so now that assemblers were made, it's also a new update. I think it's 1.1, maybe 1.0. When a new research is made, you get this little yellow icon and it highlights the new objects. Okay, so let's make 10 of these assemblers. And now you see a lot of time is spent making these little subsidiary components. So what we're going to do is add mini factories. We're going to start off. We need more red signs, so let's go pick up some more resources. Okay, so optics is going to take 10 as well. So let's craft 10 of these, and those will craft as we're making our little mini factories. Okay, so the first one that we're going to need is belts, and lots of them. So this one's going to be making the belts. This one's going to be making the iron gear wheel. So if we look at the recipe for belts, it needs 1 iron plate and 1 iron gear wheel every half a second to make 2x transport belts. So 2 transport belts. So what we'll do is have, oh, this is in the way. My OCD is not going to like that. Hold on. Move that down a little bit. Need some iron chests. Oh, let's skip this science. To make some iron chest. And now we need 6 more signs. So 1 and then 5. Okay. So this is going to make iron gears. This is going to make the belts. And then this is going to direct insert into the belt machine. And then it's going to output, whoops, belts here. We need another power pole. Great. Now all this needs is iron. So now it's taking it from here, going into here. So now that'll run until that chest runs out of iron. Let's pick up some more. We could probably use more miners. Let's do 5 more. With more furnaces. Oh, we do have furnaces, so we're fine. Let's lay down the furnaces. 1, 2, 3. And now let's add 2 more here. Okay, so now that the 10 science is ready, let's go ahead and research lights so that y'all can see a little better when it goes to night. Okay, so the next little intermediary that we will need is green circuits. So in order to make green circuits, we need 1 iron plate and 3 copper cable. So this is going to make 4 copper cables per second. And this is going to make 2 electronic circuits per second, theoretically. So this ratio is going to be close enough to 2 to 1 that we can, what is that? Yeah, that's close enough to 2 to 1. So now this will start making green circuits. Now we're already out of the iron plates here. So let's go ahead and refill that. You know what? Let's add, oh, okay, so we got the lights. What's going to be next? Let's look here. You do need the underground belts. For my mining setup, I use underground belts and splitters, so we'll go ahead and add that before we get to the miners. Just got 20 of those. What do we need for more miners? Iron. All right, let's add 5 more. Okay. Okay, I think that'll be enough for now. Let's pick up some belts. 54, great. Okay. Why isn't this working? Oh, I forgot. Crucial step. There we go. Okay, so now that's working. What else would we need? We do need electric mining drills, which are huge, and they're a pain in the butt to create. So we have some iron gears being made here. Let's do another little mini factory for iron gears while we're at it, just because we're going to need a lot to start off here. And one thing that you can do with factories, if you can copy and paste. So like we did before with the queue. So if we do here, we can copy and paste an assembly. If you want to copy and paste a recipe, whoops, you can shift right click on what you want to copy and then shift click to copy that recipe over. It's the same thing here. Shift right click, shift click, shift right click, shift click. Awesome. So we need more iron plates. Perfect. Yummy. Love iron plates. Okay. It's good for now. Let's pick up the 20 green circuits. Iron plates. Now we can get, oh, we need more iron plates. Here we go. How shocking. Let's make some miners. Okay, so now we want to automate red science a little bit instead of handcrafting that. So what does red science need? Red science needs 1 copper plate and 1 iron gear wheel. Okay, so how are we gonna make this? We can have each of these making red science. And then, actually let's space one of them out. Here, this is going to work a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. Let's have this in the middle, and then this out. There we go. That way, the iron gear wheels will feed into both. We do need more chest, more iron chest. Okay. Let's pick up some copper as well, because we will need that. Pick up all the iron we can. Let's go back up. Oh, so right now that we have stuff running, never mind. I was going to check up here. We see these steam engines pumping. You can kind of see it better when I zoom in. There we go. So now they're actually working, and we can check their output by clicking on any power pole that is connected to the network. So right now, this is how much our factory is needing. This is how much we can produce. We can produce 5.4 megawatts with 6 steam engines, and we're only consuming 100 to 200 kilowatts of that, so we're completely fine. Okay, let's power this. Let's add 5 more chests. And we will need copper in it as well. So what we'll do is we'll split half the copper there, half the copper there, and then iron here. There we go. Now it's making red science automatically, and it will feed into the lab. Okay, we need more copper here and more iron up here. Now is probably a good time to start focusing on electric mining. Let's see here. We are running out of time, so I'd like to set up the electric mining first real quick before we end the first episode. There we go. Okay, so we got the logistics working. Let's pick up some transport belts and some iron gears. We need some more iron plates for mining drills. Okay. We could start crafting those. 10 should be more than enough for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move this real quick. I'm going to move it up here where it's less out of the way. Whoops. Burner miner. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now that's the chain. Let's just add 1 coal. In order to drop 1 item, you hover over it and press Z or Z. And then that 1 will feed into the rest. Okay, so now, when resource patches like this are merged together, it can really make mining them a hassle. So what I like to do is I like to have 1 line that's polluted with both the resources and then split that off instead of having kind of multiple lines. So we will do this like so. Okay, this green kind of highlighted region is what is going to be, what is reachable by the electric miner, or what will be mined. So right now, only the copper is available, and you see that in the expected resources over here. So keep an eye on that. And then once we move up to the black where the coal is, it starts polluting, and you get to see more and more as I move it around. So we want this line facing downward to be pure copper. Okay, let's do here's fine. Okay. And we want only this middle line to be polluted with both. Okay. And we'll sort out this middle line. Okay. So let's drag it out. So now we're seeing this miner have pure copper. Let's see how far we need to go to get pure copper on this side. Okay, so this is the last miner in the chain. So Oh, we ran out of miners. Let's just add 2 more while we're at it. Okay. So this miner on this side is the last one, and then this miner, or the first one to have pure copper, and then this one's the first one on this side to have pure copper. So this will have to be the tail end of it. So what we'll do, oh, now that this is the perfect time that the research is finished. Let's move on to military so we can get submachine gun. Okay, let's make some underground belts. In order to do that, we need more iron plate, and then for splitters, we need iron plate and electronic circuit. Okay. Okay, awesome. Decent amount of underground belts. Let's make about 10 splitters is fine. Yeah, 10 splitters. Okay. And then let's place the copper here and the iron here as well. We're going to need more iron circuits before we need belts. Okay. Or not iron circuits, green circuits. So what I like to do in order to keep this as compact as possible is place underground belts here and then power the electric miners with power poles here. That way you can keep everything compact. What a lot of people like to do is, I'm just gonna place ghosts for now, is place lines down, but then place power poles at the end here, right? But if you're gonna keep everything in line, you can only place miners here, which leaves an entire line left empty. So I like to keep my mining patches as compact as possible to have as much throughput as possible. Throughput is just how much material is going through. So it might not matter as much on this small of a patch, but if you're leaving one line open per row, those lines will add up. So if you got a really big patch, by having the power poles on the outside here, you might lose out on an extra row or 2 of throughput, which is no bueno. So I like to kind of just keep it as efficient as I can from the start. Okay. So where was that end? Okay. So now this one, or these two, are going to be copper only. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the copper go the opposite direction and have copper coming out this way. Okay. So how do we filter out resources? We use that using a splitter. So we want copper coming down and then back through this end. And because it's going to be at the end, this output line is going to be priority, right? If you first in, first out. Let's add underground belts here, power here. So we want the copper coming down here and into this line. So we click on here, put on a filter, select copper, and make sure it's selected the direction it wants, which is left. Okay. Now, what I like to do, and it's not a big deal with kind of a small row like this, but I like to keep everything even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a balancer so that an equal amount of copper goes on each side, and then it'll balance here. We'll stretch this out. Oh, I can add another miner. Let's add another miner. Why not? What do I need? Oh, iron plates. Okay. We need more fuel here. Pick up some copper. Okay. So now this miner will go here, You know what? I don't like that look. Let's delete this. And honestly, it might not bug some of y'all, but I like to keep everything that I do in here pretty clean looking. We don't need this miner since this is the only patch that's going to be mined. I like to have this be the last thing. Okay. So I have this coming down in order to keep this symmetric. We'll run that. Okay. So now we're going down here. Okay, where were those last ones? This still has coal, and that's the first one of copper. Okay. Okay, so now all four of these miners will just be copper. This line will be copper and coal. We'll filter out the copper here, and then we'll balance it. So now what this balancer is doing, this is probably the most common lane balancer out there. It splits up the belt equally on either side, so the equal amount of produce comes on, or not produce, but product comes on the right side of the belt, and an equal amount comes on the left side. Hence, once they come back on, they'll have an equal amount on each side. We'll push this out, and we'll do the same thing here. We'll balance the coal, bring this all the way out, and connect to our power. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to be proactive, add a splitter here, and we actually planned this out fairly well. I'm going to add a splitter here, bring this all the way down. Oh no, I scratched that. We didn't plan it well. That's ugly. Whatever, this won't last long. Bring this down, probably around. And what we're going to do, and this is probably actually, no. Let's power these up real quick. This will be the last thing that we do for this episode. Let's just make sure everything works okay. We got some iron, or not iron, but coal coming out. We got a dirty belt going through, and then filtering out the copper on this side. And then only coal on this side. And then it's going all the way out. Okay, so what this is doing is it's splitting it evenly up to power and then down to what's eventually going to be smelting. Power takes priority. So what we want to do is add an output priority to the right, which will send everything to power. And then once this fills up, it'll send everything remaining down to where it's going to be our smelting. So this is I think a good point to end our first stream, or not stream, but YouTube video. Yeah, I think it's a good point to end our YouTube video. What we'll do next time is we'll start our smelting columns for our base. And I think a good spot will be kind of this area here. Put up a bunch of smelting columns and then belt everything down into this middle area, and then we'll start bussing everything and planning for that main bus down here. Well, thank you everyone for joining me on this first episode of Zero to Hero. I really appreciated it. It was nerve-wracking to film, but I'm excited for where this series is going to take us. If you had any kind of recommendations or constructive criticism, I'd love to hear it. This is my first YouTube video of all time, and I'd love to grow with you guys. If you have any suggestions on where you want the factory to go, what kind of builds you want to see, if you want to hear a little bit less tutorial walkthrough and more just gameplay, let me know. Or if you want to hear the opposite, more tutorial, and kind of take it a little bit slower, I can do that as well. But yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like if you liked it, and I'll see you next time.